Morning, live from Washington, D.C. It's Debbie Juliers and Allison Moore.
Hi, everyone. We're actually starting this new initiative with ZubiaLive. That's a new platform, and we're trying it out today for the first time. We're excited about that. We hope that this is going to be a way that we can start communicating with our patient population. And the ideal thing about this platform is they're building technology to improve upon it, and we'll be able to evergreen this content and circulate it and bring more awareness to Charcot-Marie-Tooth and rare diseases, of course, because it's Rare Disease Week. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm hoping that everybody had an easy time logging on today, and we'll get started in about another 30 seconds. We're just giving everybody a chance to log in.
There you go. There you go. And we have Capitol Hill behind us on this television.
It's 44 degrees. Is it 44
There you
degrees?
Yeah.
It's freezing out, very windy, so we decided just to stay at the hotel before we head over to the Hill, where we're going to be attending a caucus meeting at 12 noon to wrap up the week.
There you go. So good morning, everybody. I think we should be all together here. So I'm Debbie Juliers and Allison Moore from the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. And again, we first planned to be on the steps of the Capitol this morning, but it's a little chilly and windy. So we're actually right down the street from the Capitol at our hotel. So thank you very much for joining us today. It has been an amazing, memorable week, and we are just so honored and blessed to be representing the rare disease community and people that are suffering from the Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. Just going to give you an overview of the week. We started off Monday at the NIH, the National Institute of Health. You want to jump in a little bit on that?
Sure. It was really kind of cool to go there. I've been there before, but it's been several years. It is like Fort Knox getting in there. It takes about a half hour to get through security. And there were over 800 participants at this National Institute Health Day, where many people got up to speak about all the different acts that are being extended, hopefully into 2018, pretty much based on the 21st Century Act for rare diseases. And Debbie will talk a little bit about all the specifics throughout what we did throughout the week. But there was representation there for many diseases, and there were patient stories that were very moving. And it really talked a lot about how the NIH, sometimes we feel that they're not as supportive as they can be because of the limited funding, but being there firsthand, they really are there. They want to see rare diseases cured. They understand that there's 7,000 of them and very few have treatments. The FDA was also there talking a lot about patient input, the importance of bringing the patient into the conversation. Any of you that have been following HNF over the last couple of years, we're very focused on rare disease, patient focused research. We hosted that summit last year, and we'll continue to do that, where patients have the voice, and we bring together all the stakeholders to translate and hopefully bring more treatments to our community. And when I say more treatments, there are treatments underway finally after all these years. So it's a very exciting time. And we will talk a little bit in a few minutes about what we're doing to enhance the funding at the NIH level and the FDA and some of the other agencies that are available to people like us. And then also fast tracking these treatments, because we know the clock is ticking, especially for these children that are affected in some of these very rare forms of CMT and other related inherited neuropathies that are progressing more quickly than we would like. So we do see the urgency, we understand the urgency, and we're on this. Debbie, why don't we talk a little bit about, so that was the kickoff at the NIH to start, and it talked a little bit about giving us the tools on what we need to do on the Hill when we're speaking with the senators and the congressmen and some of the representatives of our nation.
So basically, obviously on the forefront right now, and it was great being here at Rare Disease Week. This was yesterday's newspaper in the Politico magazine, and President Trump for the first time actually brought to the forefront the rare disease. And if anybody tuned into the State of the Union on Tuesday night, it really, we were actually, after being involved and listening to all of the different acts and what's going on here in Washington, to have our president speak was very moving, and to have rare disease brought into it was just brought us to our knees. So it was an extremely powerful day when we were able to go on over to Capitol Hill and meet on the Senate and the House side with our representatives. But prior to that, on Tuesday, we spent a lot of time, as you can imagine, with the Affordable Care Act that's out there right now and what's going on with that. And you hear so many stories about, additional screenings and so on and so forth. So you have a lot of people that are out there, not only with our disease, but with other diseases out there, that showing the importance and the rarity of the rare disease community. But we are all brought together in such a big room, and the passion was just everywhere. We talked about the OPEN Act, which is the Orphan Product Disease Extension. It's basically accelerating the cures and treatments. When Ellison just touched on it, but when it finally makes it for the FDA to start approving, it can take years and years to do that. And of course, they need funding. They need additional scientists and researchers that specifically know and can target the rare diseases, such as the CMT community. And so, you really can kind of see, and we have a better idea of the holes that are lacking. The Rare Disease Act was also a big one, and that's a game changer, especially for those children that are or newborn screening that suffer from the rare cancers. But take it one step farther, how great would that be in the rare disease community if we could get our children screened by a simple blood test, at birth. It would save us a lot of money and a lot of heartache. And for those of you that don't know who I am and what my story is, my son Zachary, who is 18 years old, sorry about that, suffers from Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease type 6. So he has the foot drop and the issues with the feet and the hands. But one more make Zachary's even more rare is it impacts his eyes. So it took 14 years for Zach to be diagnosed, and we were just diagnosed in 2014, and that's how I met Allison and am now a part of the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. Raising awareness, number one, it's like God had given me this voice because I just didn't know what to do to start. So he gave me this voice. Our very first fundraiser was this little bracelet right here, which says "Find a Cure for Charcot-Marie-Tooth." And since then, I have met with my local senator and have had a few meetings with him, and that's what we all need to do to join together. But getting back to what our ask was, so when we were able to get in front of our senators, since we are from New York State, our day started with a few of the same, but then we came down to our local representatives in our regions, and I'm in Western New York. And basically our ask is for the discretionary funding, more money to be brought to the FDA and to the NIH, so we can help get these drugs. And as Allison did mention, that there is research happening right now, but to get it expedited so we can get our clinical trials going and get it into our human trials. So,
and it's not only drugs, it's gene therapy. So we have been able to identify certain forms of CMT that we know a gene therapy approach will work if everything is aligned with the animal models and the assays and collecting skin fibroblasts and making cell lines of patient-specific mutations. So you guys will see probably later today, we're going to be launching our Charcot-Marie-Tooth Research Network program. And this one, for now, when we launch today or tomorrow at the latest, it's really going to hone in on some of these forms of the disease that people don't really know about. And it's the ultra rare forms that have a very severe, we could say phenotype, very severe symptoms like blindness or hearing issues, or they're striking these children very young and they're losing the mobility to walk, and often there's breathing issues. And in addition to that, I have to mention this because there's another disease out there. It's actually the opposite of Charcot-Marie-Tooth 1A, which is PMP22 mutation, which is a duplication. The deletion is the opposite, and it's called hereditary neuropathy, pressure palsy, HMPP. And often the community feels really neglected because it's not called CMT, but yet it really is one of the CMTs. So as part of this research network that we're building, we also are focusing on HMPP. And the reason we're doing that is behind the scenes, we are working on drug discovery and gene therapy for some of these forms. And we need to start really collecting important data from these patients. And we need the patients to fill these forms out and these surveys. And it's patient-reported outcomes. But in addition to that, while they're doing this, we're going to extend it into having them go visit the centers of excellence. Over time, that's going to be important because patient-reported outcomes are very important, but also we need to match up the clinical data. And by them visiting one of the centers of excellence, and even if they go to their local neurologists and doctors, they need to help us by collecting that data and getting it to us. And all of this information is secured and de-identified. I mean, there is a handful of people on our team that would see it, but that's it. I mean, it wouldn't be shared with anybody. So everybody's protected from that regard. So I just want to stress that. And it's not that we're neglecting the common forms like CMT1A and some of the other forms. That also, we are collecting important data and building research programs around that. But that would be logging into the Global Registry for Inherited Neuropathies. It's called GRIN, which is on our website. We'll continue to push that out. And we're in the process of updating a lot of our research surveys, and we're bringing them to the next level. And the reason we're able to do that now is we've been collecting data now for 3 years. So now that we're analyzing and curating this important data, we're bringing in industry and the NIH and the FDA to look at this data with us and help us to make sure that we are collecting all the important data that we're going to need when we go to clinical trials. And I think many of you probably know that there already has been this phase 3 clinical trial for CMT1A, where they wrapped up in December, and that data will be coming out later. I think it's towards the end of next year. Hopefully that data will be published. And we're looking at bringing in some more clinical trials in collaboration with other industry, and that is all going to be coming out very soon. So, you know, for all of us that have had this disease and known about it for a long time, we've been told, okay, in 10 years, there's going to be a treatment for this disease. And, you know, we've all been waiting for this and really discouraged over the last decade or so, thinking, oh, when are they going to come, these treatments? Well, it's really happening now. So I just wanted to mention that. Are you ready, Deb?
Yeah, so very much. So we got a little note from Joey Kane. Thank you for putting, and I have my distance glasses on, voice for CMT, rare disease. It's our pleasure. And thanks very much for tuning in and talking with us. But we have actually people that have questions. So we're just trying to,
I don't know if people can see us.
Yeah, they can see us right here.
Oh.
I'm just trying to hit the back button. There we go.
Okay.
So we're back. And, you know, getting back to like funding for the FDA and the NIH, what's so amazing is, you know, there's 7,000 rare diseases out there, but there's only 289 FDA approved drugs. So these are just things, you know, that really need to change. And again, you know, he had this disease. That's the first thing that was so remarkable for me is when I found it that Zach had this disease is it's been around for 100 years. So our mission really on every level, you know, no matter what you're doing in life is you have a voice, and we really need people to step out and start becoming more involved. And wouldn't that be great if we could work together and come back to Washington next year for Rare Disease Week? And instead of being in a room with 20 people from New York, being in the room with 100 people across the United States, representing every state in this, in our nation, and standing together to fight the CMT. People would then find out about this, but we're really working really hard for that. So that's pretty much what we've got going on, and what an impact it's been. Again, yesterday we were on Capitol Hill, and how exciting it was to be there, especially as we mentioned, the president, recognizing the rare disease community, and for us to be here, during that time was a great honor. I'm honored to be representing this large community of people that are affected, not only in the United States, but all over the world. So we're going to continue this fight, and one day at a time. Anything else?
So I just want to mention, if anybody wants to ask any questions right now before we wrap up, we're happy to answer questions. And we thank everybody for joining us this morning, because it means a lot to us, and we will continue to broadcast as we have developments in this area. We are not going to stop. Actually, the work really is going to begin now, because it's great. We're here. We were very fortunate to be part of this, but now we have to really push. We have to push specifically for our disease. So if these bills are passed and the discretionary funding for this innovation grant comes into the agencies, we have to make sure that CMT is part of that, and there's funding earmarked for our disease. So we have a lot of work ahead of us,
Right.
And we need everybody to help us here.
One of the things that when we were meeting with our senators in Congress yesterday is we were asking all of the senators to join, and it's a bipartisan, so it doesn't matter what party you're with, but asking everyone to join the Rare Disease Congressional Caucus. And from what we had heard from some of the staffers, is it's a very active caucus. It's not one that just starts and they just kind of sit on it. So we're really looking and asking on all different levels to join this Rare Disease Congressional Caucus. That's super important. And another thing that if you have the opportunity, they had given us handouts from, it's actually a part of our rare disease toolkit. And this came out from the Global Genes Alliance. And basically they came up with all different sorts of information that all different patients and people that are affected by this disease can go to and help them deal with some of the things, or if it's just a learning thing, or understanding the process when it comes to a new drug development coming out. You can go on to the globalgenes.org/toolkits, and you should be able to bring up all of these. There's so many of them. Even how do I promote your rare disease story? Because just like in life, we all have stories, and if you can, learn how to share yours, and you can really, it's very empowering. But all of this information, again, you can go to the globalgenes.org/toolkit and find out a lot of really great information out there that will be beneficial on a lot of different levels of understanding.
So it's
any questions? Any questions?
Are there? Oh,
yep.
There are.
Oh, there are.
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks.
There we go.
Let's see.
All right.
Okay.
And that's, oh, here we're gonna do this. So we have Ellie. Thank you all for your hard work. You go, girls. Thank you, Ellie.
Will you give a report after today on your site?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we will do that. This will be made available for everybody.
Right.
I don't think you even have to download it. I think you can just view it, and you'll have to log in, and you can share it with your family and friends that care about Charcot-Marie-Tooth.
Yep.
Advocacy is super important. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And again, we'll just do another recap, and we'll put something up on the H&F page, and hopefully get you some links. And, again, what we'd really like to do, and we're going to work towards that. You're thinking, we're coming to Rare Disease Week, and we'll do our part when it comes to raising awareness and getting, Charcot-Marie-Tooth out there on this level, on a national level. But we'd really like to, we really need everyone to help us do this. We go out there and we plead our case, but each and every one of you can play a very vital role in your own communities. And we're looking, H&F, we're going to look to we're going to come together after this and put something together, and a toolkit specifically for, you know, how to be a voice and how to ask, and what you can do in your own communities. And we're looking to launch something like that. And, you know, strength by numbers. Absolutely.
So there's a message here from Lisa. What are the best resources for people with CMT? We have a very good section on the HNF site, www.hnf-cure.org. It's a patient, what is it called, Courtney?
Patient care section.
Patient care section, where we break it down by each section, whether it's physical therapy or getting a diagnosis, how do you talk to your kids about being diagnosed with this disease. There's exercise, there's many different things on there, tools, which we will be able to actually circulate out to the community. Oh, we also have.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at it right
the
here.
Inspire. Why don't you talk a little bit about it? Oh, and just, Lisa, just so you know, if you want to private email us at info@hnf-cure.org, we can send you a lot of links and information, not just from the HNF site, but other resources that are out there to serve our community. And we will maybe even develop a page where it's a one page within the HNF site with information. Okay, so the Inspire community.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I think we should wrap up with this,
Yeah,
because
we'll do
we have
that.
to get over to the hill. So we have a very beneficial to the community. We know that from feedback that we've gotten. It's called Inspire, and it's an online support community just for the Charcot-Marie-Tooth patients and caregivers and friends. I think there's approximately 4,000 patients in there. What's really nice about it is it gives an opportunity for you to be in a group that primarily is patients. Nobody has to know who you are. I mean, we like when people share their real names and upload their photos, but if you're not comfortable and you really want to be private, you can do that, unlike Facebook. And it teaches you through a lot of the discussions on ways to improve your quality of life and what resources are out there. And again, not just for HNF, but other resources. And in addition to that, it gives you the opportunity to ask a question and get feedback. And often you'll see 50, 60, 100 responses from other patients. So a lot of people learn how to better deal with their disease. We also are in this partnership with Inspire, and we're starting to implement other things and other features that helps us in our patient-reported outcome research. So it's really great if the community can log in and do this for us, because we're here for you. And by you telling us what you need, we'll be better at serving you as the patient and families affected by this disease. I'm going to let Courtney tell you a little bit about the community, because she's a little bit more involved in the day-to-day with it.
So the Inspire community, I'm Courtney from HNF. We've been working hard this week for everybody. So you can sign on, it's free, and it just tells you, you can ask questions if you have questions. And like Allison said, it's it can be anonymous, which is great. But what I want to close out with, and if anybody has any questions, you can email us at info@hnf-cure.org. Wanted to finish out with was your voice makes a big difference. So the littlest action can make a big difference, and we need your help. We're all in this together. So please email us and let us know if you can help us, because we really, really need everybody to work together to find treatments and a cure for CMT. So thank you so much. There's one last question here. Let me see. So I think that's it. So please get involved in your local community and let's spread the word together. Have a great day.
I just want to say one other thing. It's very important. We need to thank the rare disease art. It's actually the Everlife Foundation. They've been unbelievable. They're the ones that have championed this week. Without them, we wouldn't have had the support that we needed to travel here and be part of this. So a huge shout out to these guys that have really done a lot for these bills that have been passed to support our community, along with a lot of other groups like the National Organization of Rare Diseases, Global Genes, and there's many others, but I can't name them all. But the Everlife Foundation really has helped our community, and we're going to be partnering with them to support the future for Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So thank you again, everybody. We're checking out. We got to get to the hill. Bye.